Hey guys, welcome along to Hellmouth Hotline. I'm your host, Rodney Stewart. We're getting onto another little chat about Angel, the Buffy the Vampire Slayer spin-off. This is episode 21 of season 1, entitled Blind Date. One of these tasty episodes where what I enjoy is shows where at one point or another the hero and the villain have to work together. We get that with Angel and Lindsay MacDonald from Wolfram and Hart. There is a mission that the firm has. Of course, the law firm of Wolfram and Hart is the epitome of evil, essentially, and they're up to no good. You know, their clients are vampires and demons, this, that, and the other. So Lindsay MacDonald comes across a situation where he isn't on Wolfram and Hart's side. So, interesting little episode, this one. It starts off with Angel. He's out on patrol as usual one night, and he's fighting off some vampires. He encounters a woman wearing sunglasses, and she's carrying a white cane. After fighting a man dying, he's confronted by this woman. He finds she's much quicker and stronger than he expected, managing to dodge all his moves, and he's also surprised during the fight when he knocks the woman's glasses off, revealing that she's completely, her eyes are completely white, blind. So she eventually manages to slip away. So he's knocked on his ass. Once he gets up, she's gone. When he returns to the offices, Cordelia looks up blind woman murder on the internet. There's a moment with Wesley going over his whole diatribe of Watcher nonsense where, you know, it's going to be very difficult to find this, that, the other, but she eventually, very swiftly finds her on the internet. They decide she's human rather than demon. The search leads to her name, Vanessa Brewer, who's a career criminal, having been arrested several times. She's currently on trial for murder, and she also discovers that Wolfram and Hart is representing her pro bono, which means she's probably helping them out in some way. We cut over to the court case. Lindsay MacDonald's there. He's arguing to the judge that Vanessa's disability absolves her from suspicion. At this point, Angel enters the courtroom. He still has her glasses, her sunglasses, her dark glasses from the night before, and he tosses them at her from behind, and she immediately catches him. But the jury fail to return a verdict, and Vanessa's acquitted of the crime. Later at the offices of Wolfram and Hart, Lindsay meets his boss, Holland Manners, who's touting him to these guys for doing such a good job in court. Lindsay also speaks with Vanessa, who makes him feel uneasy. And as they all leave, Holland speaks to Lindsay about the hardships he's faced over the past year, namely his poor decision to send Faith after Angel. And Holland says Lindsay won't be happy until he figures out his place in the world. Now, this is very much, just like, I'm not going over the finer details of the episode, but Holland Manners does have his eye on Lindsay. He's got good plans for him, and in this episode, well, most of the time that Holland Manners is on Angel, he's very good at playing that devil type of character, if you get what I mean, and he's very good at playing on the people's insecurities and themselves, and laying temptation out in front of them. You see a good example of that in this episode. Their conversation eventually turns back to Vanessa, and Holland tells Lindsay that it'd be a good idea if Lindsay starts working on a tragic and abusive history for her, as Vanessa's been asked to do something that, in the slim chance she gets caught, would require a strong defence in court. Lindsay then inquires what it's about, and Holland simply says that there's some children arriving in LA that could pose a threat to Wolfram and Hart. Back over at Angel Investigations, Wesley explains Vanessa can see outside of the spectrum of normal human sight. Angel in his office goes off in one when he finds out that Vanessa was acquitted and that he can't do anything about it. He's angry that Wolfram and Hart has made up their own rules. He tells Wesley he remembers living in a world like Wolfram and Hart's where there's only power and no consequences, and he misses the clarity involved in laments that nothing ever changes. That little sequence within the episode is absolutely brilliant. One of the reasons why I like the character of Angel so much is that he's a good character, of course, but he has that evil past. And there's the moment whenever he's talking about it in the episode where you see him kind of glazing over in the eyes, and you almost think for a second that there's Angelus is going to surface. Great moment from the episode. At this point, Lindsay arrives, tells Angel that he needs his help and that he wants out. Lindsay explains he grew up in abject poverty. He kind of goes into his backstory ever so slightly after Holland Manners bringing that up earlier on. And that's when he decided that he had become powerful and keep things from being taken away from him, like his family lost everything back in the past. This is why he joined Wolfram and Hart. But Angel's completely uninterested in Lindsay's life story until Lindsay tells him that Vanessa's been hired to assassinate children. This gets Angel's interest, of course, and he wants to go through this and help these kids. Angel tells Lindsay that he need information, and Lindsay will have to go back to Wolfram and Hart. Lindsay, of course, doesn't want to go back since people there are under constant surveillance, but he's going to have to go to prove to Angel that he really wants to change. If I get killed here, will that convince you that I've changed? And Angel's like, it'll be a start. Later, the group plans Angel and Lindsay's break-in at Wolfram and Hart. Lindsay decides to use his own pass to get into the building, then leave the pass for Angel to use to get into the demon-guarded vault downstairs. Lindsay remembers the firm's vampire detectors will go off as soon as Angel enters the building. But that night, Angel meets with Gunn to ask for that favour that we seen at the end of the last episode. Gunn's like, I don't need your help. But Angel's like, I might. Gunn agrees to help when he learns it's going to be dangerous. Next day at the Wolfram and Hart offices, Lindsay runs into Lila Morgan. She's surprised to see him heading towards the records room, and there's that moment between the two of them where she's like, I don't think you read anymore. There is a little backstory to why Lila Morgan's been down in these record rooms. You kind of, once in a while throughout a couple of episodes, you kind of see her slipping through records here and there, and that does eventually come out. I think somewhere in the next season, I think that actually comes out, what she's been doing this whole time. But Lindsay, he's like, once the peons discover that you're still willing to read, they'll lose all respect for you. So they have a little laugh and part ways. Once she's gone, he leaves his security pass under this fire extinguisher, heads back upstairs. Angel, he's waiting. He's cutting his way in from the sewers. He's waiting to make his move. At this point, Gunn steps into the lobby, causing a commotion before some of his crew enter carrying this large bundle at the exact time Angel's due to enter the building. The vampire alarms go off. Gunn cuts the cord holding the bundle, revealing a captured vampire inside. So the security guards are chasing the vampire around, and they've got their security nightsticks sort of thing. And of course, press a button on it and a stake comes out at the end of it, and they kill the vampire. This covers Angel's entrance, of course, and he grabs Lindsay's security pass, uses it to enter the vault. He gets in there, he starts taking these CDs labelled restricted access, and as he's about to leave, he notices this tube covered with symbols. Despite not knowing what it is, he gets hold of it, takes it with him. This activates another alarm, drops this steel like prison bar gate down on the entrance, but he manages to slip under it before he gets trapped inside, Indiana Jones style. On his way back to the sewer, he calls Lindsay, tells him that he's done. Lindsay has to get out of the building. As Lindsay's trying to get away from some security guards, he notices that there's mind readers in the office, and they're gathering up all the lawyers, and they're lined up in front of these mind readers. Lindsay fears he's been caught out, but Holland announces that Lee Mercer has been in secret meetings with another firm and planned to leave Wolfram and Hart, taking clients with him. As this guy Lee attempts to protest his innocence, he doesn't get too far into what he's saying before he gets a bullet in the head. Lindsay dismisses the others, asking Lindsay to stay behind. At this point, of course, Lindsay, he's completely freaked out. He's standing beside this guy, Lindsay, when he gets shot, so he's got blood splatter over his shirt and up the side of his face. Holland asks Lindsay if he's scared. Of course, Lindsay admits that he is, and Holland says it's completely understandable since he went to Angel for help. So of course Lindsay has been caught out at this point. You went to Angel for help, you stole from the vault, you tried to sabotage a case, and you lied about everything, and more importantly, you lied to me. Lindsay said he didn't want to lie or betray the firm, he just wanted to leave. Holland says that, you know, few men make their own destinies, but those that do have the courage of their convictions, and they know how to behave in a crisis. And he thinks that Lindsay has what it takes to be one of these men, but he still doesn't know where he belongs. And Holland decides to not have Lindsay killed. Instead, he gives him a few days off to figure out what he wants to do. So that's the moment from this episode here where Holland is walking that thin line of, I'm going to screw you up, but at the same time, I'm going to do my best, like Satan himself, to tempt you and to, coming after what I want you to come after, sort of a thing. So he's an interesting character, Holland Manners. Cut over to the office at Angel Investigations. Angel returns. He's surprised to find that Lindsay isn't there. Cordelia, of course, asks if Angel's going to go back for him, but Angel's like, if he's not here now, there's no point in going back. He's probably been killed. So Wesley is going through the bag or the briefcase that Angel had took off him on the mission, and he finds the roll of parchment inside that Angel had lifted. It was in this tube with the markings on it, and he asks why Angel took it. Angel admits that he's not sure, so Wesley decides, okay, we're going to have to start translating this. It's in ancient Aramaic. Cordelia discovers first that they're going to have to translate the encrypted discs that Angel lifted. So Cordelia calls Willow for help decoding the discs, and they have this conversation over the phone, trying to get it done. Reveals that sorry, I just lost place in my notes there. They managed to eventually, with Willow's help, to get the discs unencrypted, and it reveals that Vanessa Brewer blinded herself when she was 21, then trained with a group of monks who believed that enlightenment is seen with the heart, not with the mind. Vanessa, her next mission is to kill 3 children. They're all blind seers who are holy. I'm not even sure how to say that word. Triumvirate. That sounds about right. So essentially they're a threat to the likes of Wolfram and Hart at this point. Lindsay arrives at the office. He's not telling them about what happened with Holland, but still offering to help. The children are arrived in the country earlier that day. However, they're not staying with a guardian as their mentor, or they're staying with a guardian, sorry, as their mentor as yet they arrive. So Angel instructs Cordelia and Wesley to intercept the mentor, get him to the kids while Lindsay go to protect the children. Cut over to the safe house. Vanessa arrives there, killing the man guarding the children with her cane. Angel tells Lindsay to get the kids out. As they arrive, Vanessa fights them both, manages to knock Lindsay out, but Angel turns the tables on her when he discovers that she's unable to save him if he stops moving. Fantastic little sequence at the end of this fight. It's not a long fight, it's not a huge fight, but it's very, very well done when Angel discovers that, the spectrum that she can see depends fully on movement. And of course, if he stops moving, plus the fact that he's a vampire and he doesn't have body temperature, if he's not moving, she can't see him. So, it's an incredible sequence at the end. As Vanessa panics, starts stabbing at thin air, Angel, he manages to land a few punches, reposition himself before she recovers. He eventually ends up right in front of her while she can't see him, and manages to kill her by stabbing her with her own cane. Later, back at the office, Wesley tells Angel that the parchment he stole from Wolfman Hart contains the prophecies of Virgin, which mentions a vampire with a soul. Wesley tells Angel that he may not know what his place is in the chaos, but, there is a method to the madness, essentially. You do have your place here. You don't know what it is, but it is there. At the end of the episode, Lindsay, and a great little sequence between him and Holland Manners to close out the episode. Again, Holland playing the devil tempting role. Lindsay returns with the discs that Angel stole and apologises to Holland, saying that he did what he needed to do, and Holland proclaims his rescue of the children. It's noble. Notes that Lindsay probably made copies of what was on the discs, and Lindsay says, just enough to keep myself safe. I just want my own life. But Holland tells him we're all part of something larger, and he tells Lindsay that he handpicked Lindsay to join the firm because he saw potential in him. Lindsay stood up to the firm and won, and Holland wants him to stay with them. In fact, he's given Lindsay his own job since Holland is getting a promotion. He tells Lindsay that it's his choice, then leaves the office. The one line that I like from Holland in this whole sequence is Lindsay walks in and doesn't call him Mr. Manners or whatever. It's like he calls him Holland, and Holland Manners. He does say to him, you walked into this office and called me by my first name. You never did that before. You never would have had the nerve. So, you stood up to the firm, you won, you're changed, you're a completely different man now, sort of thing. So, tempts him with a new job, new promotion, new office, and picks up the little box of his own belongings and says, I'm heading upstairs, so if you want the office, you want the job, it's yours. And if not, walk away. Lindsay walks towards the door, of course, behind Holland, and pauses for a second, and then he closes the two doors and walks back into the office, sits down at the desk, looks out the window at the city lights, and yes, he has made his decision. He is staying with the firm. Great little episode. The acting in here, fantastic. I want to say, and I didn't look this up before I started recording this episode, but the actress that plays Vanessa Brewer in this episode, whenever you're watching it, you're thinking to yourself, she looks very, very much like Faith. And if memory serves, I do think the actress that played Vanessa Brewer is indeed the body double, stunt double for Faith in Buffy. Let me see, I'm just going to look up her biography at the minute. Well, this is just going into the character of Vanessa more than anything else. But yeah, she is almost the spitting image of Faith. And I do believe, if I'm right, I'm right. If I'm wrong. If anybody's still listening to this podcast at this point, you can correct me in the comments below it. But I do think that is the case. So great little episode leading up to the season finale in the next episode. So come back to the channel next Wednesday for the Sean Shu in LA, I think that episode is called. And yeah, what else do I have to tell you before I close out this episode? Pretty much the upload schedule that I'm planning for the rest of the duration of the podcast, as long as my computer keeps working. It seems to have took a notion of shitting itself ever so slightly as far as the charging port on it goes, so I might need to get that sorted out. So yeah, the upload schedule is going to be Mondays we'll be doing Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Wednesdays Angel for the duration of however long the episode reviews last, and on the Friday nights we're going to be doing the horror movies of some sort. We're currently doing the Paranormal Activity movies. So yeah, get your suggestions in for reviews on horror movies for the Friday nights, and yeah, let me know. The only other thing is to check out the website coinsagemedia.com for everything else that I'm doing. And if you're interested, there is a Patreon for everything I'm doing. Patreon.com/coinsagemedia covers absolutely everything. Yeah, I think that's all I've got to tell you guys. So I hope you enjoyed the episode, and until the next one, stay safe, and I'll talk to you all then. This has been a production of Coins Age Media. Thank you so much for listening.